All right. Thank you for being here with us today. And I'm so happy we are here today and we're going to get started ASAP. My name is Nanaya Kranchoeyim, and today I'm your host and your career coach for the day. And a quick introduction about myself is I'm a PhD candidate studying in Erasmus University in Netherlands. And you're probably wondering why you should listen to me and on how to get a job because I've been where you've been, being a young person out of school or about to graduate from school, or you're probably doing your national service right now and you're looking to get your first job. And what we do at Opportunities for Us is to help you through that transition. If you're a young Ghanaian, a young Nigerian, basically an African, we are interested in helping you landing your first job. So the things that we're going to teach you today is going to help you to do that. And thankfully, I've gone through that process and I have actually invested in that process of learning how to do that. So I'm able to help you today. So that's a bit about myself. And we'll get straight to it. You can put in the comment section if you want to about how excited you are and what your expectations are for learning how to get a job. Because our time is limited, we have 40 minutes to get this done. And so I'll tell you two things that you can do to get a job. And the first thing is networking. Networking. So networking really has to do with how you connect with people and how you get to know people and making sure that you understand how to interact with people and form relationships with them, first of all, and manage those relationships very well in order that it might be beneficial. Sometimes it may not be beneficial in that point in time, but it may be beneficial down the line, and that can help you to be able to land a job. In Ghana and in our part of our world, we really know that sometimes the saying goes, it's who you know, not what you know. And that's really true. Once you graduate as a young person, you find that to be very true. And so it's important that once you're in school, join society, join clubs, be friends with even your friends, because some of them, they are dad's own companies that can actually employ you. Just be a very friendly and character-wise, a very nice person. And in societies of shared interests, on campus like Enactus, all the way to your school association groups and all of that. Even if it's a religious society that you're in, make sure that you are intentional about building relationships and managing those relationships over time and ensuring that they grow and cultivate them intentionally. So that's about networking. I would give you a very good example of a way you can networking in an assignment. So next week, Saturday, I'll skip to my next slide. There is an event in Accra. If you're in Accra, it's called Bar Camp. It's a really good way to network. It's organized by a foundation or organization that also helped me when I was coming up learn this practice of networking, and where I also got jobs because I formed relationships with people and associations with people that helped me even up till today. And so Ghana Think Foundation is hosting what we call bar camps. They do this all over Ghana and even sometimes parts of the world, like in London and Paris and Washington. And it's basically these places where people get together to connect, talk, share ideas, meet professionals, and all of that. So I've put a flyer there. You can see the details. You can pause the presentation and scan, the QR code and register. If you're in Accra, make sure you go. Just go and network. You never know who you meet, whom you hear from. There are people that they bring in, professionals to speak and all of that. Now, that's enough about networking. And then the second point and the second way I wanted to quickly tell you can get a job is to be visible. Visible means being vocal, learning how to, practice your speaking, speaking in public places, presentations. I know a lot of us don't like to do presentations in school, but they're actually a great way. If you're doing a lot of these student-led campus political activities, it's a great way. Debaters, whatever it is, find ways to speak. If you're a class rep, even making announcements in front of your class, it's helping you to practice being visible and being vocal. And you can extend that to social media and having posts, learning how to communicate and do these storytellings about things you're learning in class, things you're learning in your everyday lessons. If you're a coder, perfect. Find a project that you're working on or you worked on in the past, make it a series, post it on LinkedIn, post it on Facebook, post it on Instagram. It can really be useful in getting eyeballs and the right kind of eyeballs. Sometimes you don't need to get 1,000 views. You can get 58 views, and one of those views can be of somebody who's a recruiter, and that person is looking to pick you for a remote job. Yeah, so that's how it works. Then I think I'll talk on two things before we move on to the next and most important part of our presentation, which would make sure we're on time, is documenting and communicating effectively. I see and I receive a lot of requests that a lot of people struggle to communicate effectively. They are asking themselves so many questions on how they can, get their message across. And the ideal way to do that is really to practice. Yes. You can also watch YouTube videos and watch all of those things teaching you how to communicate effectively. But if you don't learn how to practice it, it won't work. And I also have my own video I can share with you. So at the end of this page, you can Google Selar, Selar, and you Google Nanaya. It will show up, my Selar store, and you can find, these are all free materials. I don't charge for any of these things because I'm really passionate and invested in hearing a very positive feedback that you got a good job and then you got it using some of these things. And so we have all of these products and available. And this one is talking to you about how to be an effective communicator. Yes. So it was a session I did many years ago. I mean, 2 years ago, but you can really find it useful even for yourself today. And I encourage you to go and listen to it to pick up useful tips on learning how to communicate, both in written form or posting form, and also in vocal communication, because I cannot share everything we have on here today. And I have this picture of this lovely lady I stumbled across. She's called Gloria, and she's learning how to unlock, LinkedIn and using, content creation, putting visibility on her posts and all of that. I'm also even learning a couple of things from her. So I also put her posts there for you to go and Google her on LinkedIn and then check her out. I think she's doing amazing work. Now we move on to the main part of our presentation, which is an example of a job application. So let's say you've done all of these things and then, you've been networking, you've been, searching for jobs, obviously, because there are so many people that search for jobs. You can search for jobs on LinkedIn. Jobs in Ghana is also a good place, but ideally, networking is a very good place to start. And I've shown you a very good place, a very good example. Some of these business owners come for Barcamp, so I've shown you a very good tip where you can get practical help. So we're going to talk about an example of a job application, and I have with me here today a very good friend of mine whom we are going to do like a real live job application that is live today, called the Monitoring, Evaluation, and Learning Officer role. It's a role I actually have done in the past, to be honest with you, and it's something that's like very basic. People from different backgrounds can actually enter this role in an entry-level role. It's the skills you need to have that are important. And if you know anything from our past sessions that we've done, some of them, the past sessions that we've done on obtaining certain skills, you know that you have to obtain hard skills and soft skills. I just mentioned some of the soft skills about, being visible, being vocal, communicating effectively. Some of the hard skills is like data analysis with Power BI, Excel. Some of these are now basic staples you need to have as a young person. It doesn't matter if you did history or political science or, whatever arts, law or whatever. Having some of these skills can get you into a job role like this, even though maybe you've not really prepared for it per se, so and so. So this is a live job application. If you go to the Environmental Justice Fund right now on their website, it's still available. The roles were for both Liberia and Ghana. Ghana has closed, but Liberia is the same thing, just the location has changed. But this could easily be in Kenya, could be in Nigeria, South Africa. So this is like a typical job you've seen. And then we're going to show you how you should be looking at some of the things you should be paying attention to and how you can actually, secure certain key things you can do to secure yourself into the interview stage. Maybe at another time, if we get the opportunity, we can record a session on how to get you to the interview stage. Are you with me? Okay. So we're doing a walkthrough. Quick screenshot reveals, the website, and it shows you where it's based. They immediately tell you, that it's with regular travels. It's a 1-year contract. It's not a permanent position. That means that, you probably be monitored for like the first 3 to 6 months. Salary range is competitive. They tell you, this is very good, that they tell you straight up what it is that you can expect. Yeah. And yeah, it's around that area. And they tell you the benefits, which is really good. And then you also see the position. It's a lot to read. So what I'm going to do is that, because Huda saw this application online and we have very few audience right now, I'm going to ask her that what did she see maybe when she was going through the job that stood out to her that she wanted to put maybe in her CV to connect her CV to her job, because that's the first thing you have to learn. I come across most people. I have friends who work in some of these companies like EJF, the Environmental Justice Fund, and they tell me all the time that young people just send them generic CVs and generic cover letters. So the first point that we would mention is that do not make the mistake of ever sending generic CVs and generic cover letters. What do I mean? Don't send one basic or standard cover letter and CV across to multiple job entries. You want to make sure you tailor your job to every opportunity that you have access to, every opportunity that you have access to, every job you're applying to. So Huda, I'm going to hand over to you at this point, and you can tell us what it is that you see, or maybe you saw. It doesn't have to be on this page. You can open the link on your website to the job position, and then let us know what it is that you saw.
Please give me a moment.
Yep, no worries. I know I sprung this up on you.
No, so without opening the link, I think what stood out for me was going through the rule, and I understood that it's important to have skills in data analysis because,
Okay.
M&E is about measurement. It's about measurement, drawing insights from data,
Yeah.
learning from the data, and then communicating it. So I made sure that you'd see a lot of data-related stuff, communication, and skills in Excel and Power BI, especially like you mentioned. I made sure to include this in my CV and cover letter so that they would see that I am very tailored for the job.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic. And thank you so much for that. I just quickly had to unshare my screen, but we're still recording. This is very true, that you have to make sure that you connect your job, or you connect the things that you're doing to whatever it is that you have or you're planning to do, because if you don't per se, then what you'll be stuck with is a job opportunity that you could have, you probably do have the skills, that's the truth, but then because you didn't communicate well enough, you miss out on that. So we want to be able to teach the people who are on the call or come and watch our recording later, because I know the time was a bit different from the call. Don't panic if that's the case for you. We will leave a recording, and you can always come back and watch the recording. Thank you. Let me share my screen again. And yeah, so after we've learned the ways in which we do this, let's go first of all. So she said data analysis. So we can see here in the mail system development and implementation, we can see, certain keywords like ensuring mail frameworks. So mail frameworks are reporting frameworks. So things like theory of change, monitoring plans. These are templates that you can actually learn online. In fact, the interesting thing is there's this particular LinkedIn lady I follow. And there are plenty of people like, hey, whenever you're applying for a certain industry job, they post certain documents, critical documents that can teach you a lot about whatever field that you want to be in. So here we have the data collection and analysis and reporting. So there's the second part of the job description that you should be really focusing on. So the first thing is looking at, and understanding that you might have to be able to be a very good person at cleaning, collecting, and managing data, and being able to interpret data, and being able to translate this into their templates. So their templates are like for the midterm reviews and project evaluations, and also managing databases. So depending on what systems they use, Excel, Power BI, Tableau, you need to be able to use it. Then the second areas they are looking at, or they'll be scoring you on, is collaboration, teamwork, basically. And how to be able to be, once again, an effective relationship manager. So you remember that networking that we're talking about. You still need it here in your workplace. Capacity building and technical support. Yes. So this is having understanding on ground local context. And then essential skills. Yeah. So these are jobs they will consider with previous experience. But I just want to know that sometimes if you feel like, let's say, for example, you have a background in business development or something that maybe is not related, just go ahead and apply, especially if you know you have the main skills that can actually really help you to land a job. You'd be surprised that sometimes the employers are just actually more interested in the skills. They just sometimes put up certain things like these, like the degrees and stuff, just for standardization reasons or, all of that. But then you can actually still get a job. There's actually an interesting statistic that says that men are more likely, 54% more likely to apply for a job they don't qualify for than women. So this is also a message to women that sometimes,
You
you know that you need to be bolder and pick the things that you really want. So they end with, after the long list, talk about other additional skills, partnership management, and then, if you have a background in marine environments, thumbs up to you. And you put all of this in a CV and a cover letter, for which we're going to see an example of for this job. And you also must understand that you have a legal right to work in Liberia. As I said, there was a Ghanaian version of this on the website, which closed some days ago. So we just had to stick with the Liberia one. But let's say, she's Liberian and she wants to work in Liberia. And as we mentioned, it could be actually be any organization in any part of Kenya. It could even be a remote job. So we have our cover letter here. And you see a black spot because that's where your email address and then your phone number should be, if it's your letter. But because this is hers, we have, so we have a screenshot of the cover letter here. And because of time, I am going to only highlight certain things out to you in this recording. If you want more information, lucky for you, I have a whole detailed guide for free on my Stellar store. You can access it anytime. And it basically shows you how to write your CV letter and your cover letter from scratch with a job application, just like what we are doing in this video, but it breaks it down further. So don't worry if you feel like I'm rushing you or this is being rushed. You have the opportunity to go back and then watch this recording, or also go and use that guide, because that guide breaks down a lot of things. Yes, so we can see that she has 4 paragraphs here. The first paragraph talks about her motivation and her commitments and her interests, and that the role aligns with her experience. And the second paragraph talks about her skills that she has, the skills that she has, and then the years of work experience. So she puts it there. And if I were you and I just came out of school and maybe I've already done my national service, I'll add my national service as a 1-year working experience. Any internships that I did during the summer, I'll also add the months together. So if, let's say, I did 2 internships when I was doing a 4-year program and they were all 2 months, that's 4 months. So 4 months plus the 1-year national service, that's 1 year, 4 months of work experience that I would put in there for myself. And yeah, that's just so that the people that talk about, not having enough work experience, that should get you across. And they talk about specific things. So the third paragraph is the interesting part. So you highlight on your unique specific strengths that relates to the job position. So here she's talking about things that she's done that align specifically with this role. That's why you can't have a generic, thing being sent around. Because what these people want is monitoring results, data analysis, specific things that have to do with marine and environment stuff. So this paragraph, you talk about specific things that maybe you've done in your past work that aligns with this role. Maybe water management or something like that. Yeah. And then we come to the CV. So the CV, you can see her name boldly at the top, Huda Ibrahim. The address is there. And then her LinkedIn profile, which is a clickable version because it's a PDF version. You can do that. Or you can just copy and paste your LinkedIn there. The URL. I have a video on YouTube on our opportunities for Aspie that teaches you how to customize the link as well. Yeah. And so you can just look at the profile and see that it's very beautiful, very brief 5-line introduction to what her skills are, who she is, her key skills, the background of experience that she has from the most recent. You don't start from the, the one that you did, the first job that you start from the one that the most previous job that you left. That is relevant to the role. You don't put all your job experiences. No, put the ones that are relevant to the role. So if you've been a waitress before, that's great, but it doesn't count in this particular application. So you don't put it in this application. If you are going to do a beverage role or manager role somewhere in a restaurant in Accra and you are sending your CV there, then you put that waitressing job role in there. That one, yeah, it would be very important for them to see that, oh, you've done something like that. So you know stuff about food and catering stuff. Yeah. So then, because the job role, if let's say it was an academic role like a scholarship, then you bring your education first. But if it's a job like this, you bring your job experience first. Then your education follows. So we see her education here. She has a master's, she has a BSc. Some certificates can be relevant here as well. Some of these short-term courses like the ALX Academy and the rest, you can actually put them here. Fellowships that she's done online and in person, that's fantastic. Certifications as well, you can put them here. I'll also advise you, if you've done Coursera courses, you can also put them here as well. Then community and volunteer work. I see Huda's hand is up.
Thank you. So I wanted to say something about the fellowships, because someone would ask, why would I bring that here? Because they don't see the link to the job, but because it's an international organization, I wanted them to see that I have international exposure. And so that's something you should keep in mind. There are one or two things that you think may make you more aligned with the company, which will not be stated in the job ad. And if you can identify those things, it's good to showcase that in your CV. Thanks.
All right. Thank you so much, Huda, for that. That's a very good tip in there as well. I actually 1000% agree with that. And that's why I'm so happy I have you here, because one person alone can have all the insights. So as she said, sometimes when you see the internationalness of the job or the organization itself, the role may be local, but putting these things, they help them to know the breadth and the depth of your professional experience or your learning capacities or capabilities. So putting this there puts you a leg up over someone who doesn't have it, or who may have it but chose not to put it there. So that can actually go a long way to help you as well. And yeah, we have community and volunteer work. I really want to hammer on this because a lot of Ghanaian youth don't have community and volunteer work in their CVs. That can actually set you apart because it shows that you are somebody who's interested and curious to learn, somebody who is not afraid to make mistakes, somebody who's compassionate, who's able to help some others. So like that citizen aspect of you, like you're doing stuff for Mother Ghana and stuff like that. So these three things are can set you like and communicate these 3 values to your employer or potential employer, and that can set you apart because lots of Ghanaian youth don't do it. So yeah, you should really add community and volunteer work, and don't think about it very much or very far. Who just own says she's in Rotaract or Rotary, and really what you have is maybe you are in church or you volunteer for Sunday school, you're in university, you're a class rep, you're doing some sports, you're a basketball team or something like that, a fellowship leader. It just shows that you're able to carry a sense of responsibility of leading yourself and others, and then also like doing like time management and stuff like that. So yeah, Huda.
Okay, thank you. So there's a third point. No, I think the second one has to do with supported monitoring and reporting of community development projects. So for this one, in other job applications, I would just say, oh, I led and supported the implementation of several projects in 20 communities and more. So the distinction between those ones and this is an MNU rule. And I wanted to show that even in my volunteer work, I have done some kind of monitoring and evaluation. And that's why I changed that statement to supported monitoring and reports and of community development initiative. Because yes, I do reports, I do monitor, we develop templates to track progress and all of that. So I also wanted to highlight this to show that it could be the same experience you're talking about, a bit depending on the kind of job, you could change the wording so that at least it becomes more relevant to the particular role you're applying for.
All right, thank you so much. And that is super relevant. Let's move on because it's almost time for questions and then we end. So yes, this is the guide I was talking about. It has more details. It has details that we haven't covered here, like one, the fact that you should put numbers in your CV and your cover letter to show like your capabilities and your capacity. So for example, I'll give you 2 examples. This is also in the communication video. If person A says that, oh, I have worked, in data monitoring at company A, but person B says that I have done data monitoring in same company A, same role, but I did it for 3 months and I was able to improve data efficiency or able to help the company track sales and increase sales by 23%. You see, using numbers helps them to be able to appreciate more your work that you've been able to do. So that's why you should go and get the cover letter, and go through it. And this page actually just covers the steps that we took you through for the cover letter right now. And you can pause the video here and then look closely. This to help you to write a detailed, very good cover letter. But if you go through the guide, it's the same thing that is there. Yeah. So the last part is to show you how to find jobs on LinkedIn. And to find jobs on LinkedIn, you just look at the top of your tab and you will find, the jobs link there. It looks like a work box, so it's like a lunch box. You can call it a lunch box, and when you click on it, you see the screen, and you use the location, and then you can also search by, job description or job titles. So you can put this in, and then you get the alerts. You can do the same thing actually for Google Alerts in your region like Ghana, and also use it to find remote jobs as well. So these 2 are other ways that, can help you to find jobs right away. If there was time, would have let you practice. And because you stayed with us to the very end and to this point, we have a unique job position with a partner company, Venture Nest. They're looking for an operations and admin manager, and it's 2,000 to 3,000 cedis, depending on your experience or your fit. And it's on site at Osu in Accra. And you can apply. You can put in, you can scan this QR code to join our Telegram group, and the full PDF is there, so you can join it from there. If you are not able to join Telegram and you want to join our WhatsApp, just check out our LinkedIn, or search for us on LinkedIn, and you find our WhatsApp link in our LinkedIn bio as well, and you can also join the WhatsApp from there as well. And yeah, thank you so much for coming. And we wish you all the best. We also want to encourage you that when you apply to this particular job on VentureNest, you put also in the message that you got the opportunity from here, opportunities for us, so that it helps us to maintain that kind of partnership with our partner companies. Thank you so much. And you can also find our seller store with lots of free items or services that you can also pay for when you check them out. And we would have loved to ask questions. So we have one person still on the call, William. If you have any questions for us, and you can put it in the chat if you can't unmute yourself where you are, and we'd love to take that question, all those questions. Williams, do you have any questions? Okay, so Williams is not responding. Okay, he has put in a question. Fantastic. Maybe I speak very fast. So. He says he mentioned some resources. I'd love if you could share the link here with me. Okay, that's fantastic. I can do that very easily. So these are opportunities for us linked Telegram page. So you can, join via that, but I'll share the link with you. And you can also find our WhatsApp as well. I'll put the WhatsApp in the link as well. And you can find us there as well. Or when you go to the Telegram group as well, you can find us there too. So yeah, thank you so much. I hope you mentioned the CV templates. Yes. Yes. So you already find that over here. So you go to our seller page. You can type seller, or I'll just put the link in the chat box for you as well. But
you
if
can
you're
share the
watching this
link on
video,
the page after the call.
yeah, if you, let me see. Seems like some people are now joining because of the time difference. Oh my God.
Yeah, we're almost done.
Yeah. You're welcome, William. Thank you for staying with us till the end. Welcome, Ben. I'm so sorry you missed everything because of the time difference. There was an error with the time communication, but we have a very nice recording for you with a surprise at the end. Maybe Williams will be nice enough to share with you the surprise. But yeah, there's a free surprise at the end. And so we will share the recording shortly right after this. Microsoft Teams is very good at generating the recordings sharp. So we'll share the link with you so you can access it. We'll also post it on LinkedIn and in our groups so that you can have access to it. So we are so sorry about the time mishap, and we hope you can still stay on the call because we shared a lot of good stuff and we did it in under 40 minutes. So it's not a very long video. Yeah, and we hope you can enjoy it. Thank you so much for being here today, and bye.